Hey there, it's Jeff here. So we're gonna try and build one of these laser cut mechanical steampunk boxes. This is my first time trying to build one of these, so this should be exciting. Let's see how it goes. Okay. So we've got our kit here. Got some instructions. We've got a bag with a bunch of small gears in it. We've got our 4 sticks here, bamboo sticks. And we've got some larger cut pieces here, and a paintbrush. This is for putting on wood glue. If you're using wood glue, you get to pick what kind of glue you want to use. You could use wood glue, you could use super glue, got lots of options. So the first thing we're going to need to do is I'm going to actually take one of these sticks and, well, let's see. First, I think we should probably cut the stick lengths that we need. And we've got this guide here, and this tells us what stick lengths we need. So we need to cut this many at that length. We gotta cut 2 at that length and 1 long one. So let's take a look here. Just grab some flush cutters. And we'll start with 1. There we go, that looks good. So now I'll cut several more of that length. We need, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. We need 18 at that length. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I'm going to save this and the pointy end of that stick because I want to use that. I lost count. Was I at 13? 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. And I'll cut a couple spares just in case at that length. So there we've got the small length. Now we need 2 slightly longer ones. Right about there. Whoa! Lost my stick. There it is. We need 1 more at that length. That's 2. And then we need 1 of the longer ones. There we go. So we'll just keep those there. Got a couple extra sticks. Now I'm going to use the pointy end of one of these sticks. You can see how there's still some pieces inside our laser cut parts that need to be poked out. So I'm going to go through and poke out any of the stuck pieces. There's one there. couple here. There we go. This one's got 3. Oh, that's just decoration. And this has a lot. There's a lot here, so we're just gonna slam through it. Oh, maybe the other end would work better here. There we go. I've got 2 more like that to do, so I'm going to fast forward so you don't have to watch me poke all these out. Okay, that's all done. Those are all poked out. And we might have to do the same thing to some of these gears. Oh boy. Let's see. You'll probably have, you know, bits that need to be poked out in your gears, depending on what material your particular gears were made out of. A lot of the kits are slightly mix and match in terms of what material. You might have plywood for the box parts, you might have MDF for the box parts, you might have plywood for the gears, you might have veneered plywood for the gears. It's a sort of a mix and match situation. And depending on the material, you might have more of those little hangers on. Plywood, the cut bits like in the centers or shapes like this, with plywood they tend to release while it's cutting. With other materials like MDF, they tend to hold in place and you have to poke them through. So like this is just veneered MDF. That's why we had to poke more of those through. These actually seem pretty much fine. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna sort things out. I got my sticks over here. I'm gonna put my gears over here. Give myself a little bit of space to work. Now let's take a look here. Okay, photos for reference, that's very handy. So it looks like we're starting with this piece. Flipping it upside down. Okay, so these pegs are gonna pop in the holes. Okay, we noticed something here. Trying to put the sticks in, the diameter of the stick seems to fluctuate a little bit. But one thing you can do if your stick looks a little too thick to fit in the hole is you can take your scissors or your clippers or a knife and you can trim off a little bit from the side like this. You see how we can just peel some material off, and we're sort of effectively reducing the diameter of the stick so that it will fit in the hole. Whoop. So here's one that I already did and that fits in there quite nicely now. So we're going to do that for a few of them, make sure that they all fit, because it looks like at this stage we are fitting some sticks into holes. So we'll just reduce these down a little bit. That fits nicely. And that. That could be better. The nice thing about these bamboo sticks is the grain is running the long way, so they split really easy. Bamboo always seems to split really easy. Okay, now it looks like we need to take these little dots with the ring. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the ringed dots. And those are going to, now in the illustrations they're using wood glue. I think I'm going to try super glue. So they're pressing the dot on and pushing it through. Just a second. So actually noticing one thing that makes it easier, if you leave it flat on a surface, then you take your little disc and you kind of twist it onto the peg like that from above. Having the pegs resting against the table gives you something to push against. That seems to help quite a bit. Like that. And then I have a feeling that if we just flip it upside down, give it a bit of a shove, there we go. That made it pretty easy. So now I'm going to put a little dab of super glue on each of these, and that'll hold them in place. So let's see here. I've got this super glue. This is thin super glue, so it's very runny like water. And just a little bit, it'll soak into the wood. Whoa! Then I put some of this stuff on it. It's super glue activator. Dries the glue instantly. There we go. Grab a towel here and just wipe up the spilled glue and wipe off the excess activator. There we go. Looking good. So let's see. What's next here? I'm looking ahead. I'm gonna look ahead. So yeah, the front. We're gonna do the front first. So it looks like next we take this guy here. How many of these do we actually have? Two, and I think these kind of mesh like this. Not like this, but I think in the end those are gonna work like that. Looks like we've got two of them like that. Yep, and that's how many we need. And this is saying put some glue on the back side of it. And we've got this little toothed gear here. Looks like this guy. And that's gonna get glued onto the back of it. Just make sure there's no similar looking gears here. Doesn't look like there is, but it seems like there should be one more. Oh, there it is. So we want this situation going on. It looks like in the picture they've actually got the, looks like they have the same number of teeth on them. Yeah, maybe. And the teeth kind of line up a little bit. Cool. Get rid of some of this scrap material here. So, and interestingly, in this picture, we can see they've also got some of these other gears in place. They've got the large gear here. They've got, looks like this little small gear is in place here. That's cool. And then we've got these two smaller gears, one here and one here. Wow, look at that. That is actually already turning into something. It's pretty exciting. Okay, so now it looks like we need to glue these together. So this has them using a screwdriver for the gluing process. I'm wondering if I can just use one of these extra bamboo sticks here. Looks like probably. Okay. Now with this super glue, I want to be a little careful. I'm just going to put a wee little bit. There and there. Fit that on there. That should do the trick. I'll put an extra little drop on here so it soaks into both pieces. Okay, cool. Spray some activator on here. Whoop, that didn't work. That didn't work at all. I think I need a thicker glue for this one, which we have. We have a thicker glue. Let's try this all again. Now that there's activator on there though, I gotta be really quick, because as soon as the glue touches the wood, it's gonna start to cure. Oop, my bottle's a little clogged up. Luckily, I have a pointy stick. Let's see what that does for me. There we go. That's all we need. And just squish these together like that. Cool. That is now definitely set. Just get some gummy bits out of here. Honestly, wood glue would probably be easier for this. Super glue's cool, and it cures so fast. I'm always inclined to use it just because I think it's a really neat material. But in this case, it might be more trouble than it's worth. I don't know. I'm not gonna give it up. I'm not giving up on it just yet. There is a little hard chunk of super glue here I need to get off. Oh, there we go. Okay, cool. That is double gear assembly number 1. Let's do this one next. I'll do better with this one. I won't stink it up so bad. Let's see. There we go. That was the right way to do it. Quick and easy. Completely painless. And without even any of that activator, it is already stuck on there. You know, what's interesting is, and I don't know if this is true, but I've heard that super glue works best when it's pressed between two flat things, because it pushes the oxygen out, and the lack of oxygen helps it cure. I don't know if that's true. I just heard that anecdotally from a certain woodworker guy who I tend to believe. So let's see. One of these goes here like that. The other one goes here like this. Wow. I'm really surprised at how quickly and effectively all of this is coming together. I'm really pleased by this. It's got a very nice action on it. Okay, let's see. So now it looks like we need one of these pieces. This one. And that's a small piece. Where is it? I was a little nervous about this build just because it's got so many moving parts, but now I'm having fun. I mean, what can I say? I'm having a blast with this. Let's see here. Now I'm not sure, but it looks like maybe this is the wrong size peg. This one here in the picture, it kind of looks longer. But I don't know, those all look like the same size to me, so maybe it's just a perspective thing. It definitely looks longer in this picture though. We'll see. We'll see if we need to, oh, well, smart. Good job. Good job, you're a smart cookie. Just put it all back together. I'm gonna end up doing this again, I'm sure. Cool. So what do we do with these little pieces? This seems to say that they fit together like this with two pegs. One peg there. Gonna need to trim this a little bit. I'm going to start by putting the pegs into the gears like that. Because the two holes on either side are smaller than the center hole. Okay, those are in there. Now this bigger one fits on there like that, and the smaller one like that. This assembly, for me, this seems really tight. I'm not sure it needs glue, but I suppose it wouldn't hurt to just put a dot or two of the very runny super glue on it. Because this is fixed in place. This is not going anywhere. So let's do that. Let's add just a little bit. Give that a minute to finish curing while we look ahead. Yeah, I gotta say this peg definitely looks like one of the longer pegs. This is done curing now. Yeah, because let's see. Yeah, when in this picture here you can see when this piece is fastened in place, the center peg is even with these two pegs on the side. So yeah, we're gonna have to get this out somehow, which now that I've glued it, that might be a little tricky. But let's see what we can do. I'm gonna take the gears off. Let's see. Maybe I can just yank it out with pliers. Ah. Yes. Good. That's a relief. So now I'm going to take one of the two longest pegs. Or is it just one? There's only one. Yeah, I'm going to take the longest peg. Trim it down a little bit. Okay, that's in there nice and snug. Yeah, too snug. Gotta trim it a little more. Okay. There we go. So now when this sits on there, oh, now see, that seems too long. So I guess it's not the longest peg. Maybe it's one of the two middle-sized pegs. So the instructions that the designer provided, which are these pictures we're looking at here, as you can see from this video, they're not super verbose. But that's what the video is for, so that we can all see how this is supposed to work and go through the process together. Okay, that looks a little better. That looks maybe more correct, but I don't know, it still doesn't seem quite right. Let's look ahead a little and see what else is supposed to go on here. See if we did this really, really wrong. Or just kind of sort of wrong. So these go there. I'm gonna have to put some gears back on so that I can get a sense of what is actually supposed to be happening here. We got this one, that one, these two. We got this thing, which this is gonna end up being the handle that we turn to make the whole thing go. That's pretty cool. Then it looks like this big piece fitting in seems like this is supposed to go in here. That is a really tight fit. Why is that so tight? Maybe the super glue expanded it a little bit, but that's okay. We can use a knife or something and make this hole a little bit bigger. Let's see. I just kind of Did that help any? It did. It helped a lot. Let's do it a little bit more. I dare say that turns quite freely now. Put that back. That's gonna go like that. And what else do we got going on here? We've got this funny thing and one of these funny things. That is quite decorative. Seems like this is gonna fit there. And this, it looks like there's two of these. Maybe even three? This picture shows three, so I guess there's three of those. Yeah, that center peg. Yeah, this is supposed to fit on there, so we gotta put on the longer peg. It's not too late. That, now that I've pushed this together, it doesn't want to come apart. But that's fine. It doesn't need to come apart. This, on the other hand, we do want to take that out and replace it with the longest peg. Okay, yep. Should have seen that one coming. Now that we know it's the longest peg, I am gonna put a little bit of glue on it just to hold it in place. Okay. So now it looks like things can really start going together here. Binding up a little bit. It's not too bad, and I have a feeling that with use it will improve. But I will say, if you're watching this video, especially around the center of the shaft, right below this peg, it might not be a terrible idea to add a little bit of like beeswax or something like that. That might actually help. But it does look like also kind of got ahead of myself, because there are some bits that are supposed to go between these pieces. I don't actually have any beeswax here, I don't think. But right in there, in that sort of bushing, little beeswax might not be the worst thing in the world. So yeah, let's see. What do we got here? There's a couple additional pieces. We can see them in this picture. We've got one round peg there. Got another round peg there. Got one here. There's a very small one. Look at the size of that one. That one goes here. Those appear to just be standoffs to help give this thing the right spacing. There we go. Now you can see everything's got correct spacing. That's really handsome. That looks very nice. I think I used the wrong size here. This one. Yeah, there's two sizes. See the two sizes. We got to use the larger of the two here. And you can actually see in the picture just how close the edge of this little standoff comes to the teeth of this gear here. So that'll give you some visual reference. Okay, cool. That seems good. Now that that's in there, what do we do next? Looks like we put on these little guys to hold everything in place. This is a situation where a little glue might be okay, but I'm going to use the thicker super glue because I don't want the thin stuff. I don't want it to wick into these bamboo posts and then stick the gears to the posts. Some stuff is supposed to move, some stuff is supposed to be secured, and I think in this case we just want these little holdfasts to be secured to the tops of the pegs. So what I'll do is take just a little bit of this super glue. This is the thick stuff. I'll put it right on the edge of the hole. And pop that in place. And that's not going anywhere. And we'll repeat that for all of these pegs here. Just a little bit right there. Gotta say, I am liking this. I have no idea what the heck I might use it for, but I'm a sucker for anything with gears on it, especially when they're real working gears and not just decorations. Okay, everything that's supposed to move still moves. And we never did put this piece on, so I'm going to do that next. And I'm not going to bother gluing anything to the peg here. Yeah, because then it wouldn't rotate. I'm just going to put two little dots way off to either side of the peg. One there, one there. I'll center that up. There we go. Highly decorative. That looks really cool. And I think that is it for the front panel assembly. That's the whole thing. So now we can move on to the side panels. Put that there. Now we've got our side panels here. This one. Wow, this looks kind of complex. Looks like there's two things to put together here. We've got this part, and then we've got one of these parts here. So we'll start with this one. This looks like a job for more of the smaller pegs. At this point I've got one long peg, and then all the rest, I think, or no, do I have two? I've got two of the medium length pegs, and I've got a handful of the small pegs left. Two medium length pegs, and a handful of small pegs. So for this, it looks like we're gonna need one of these, and one of these, and one of these, and we're gonna need this thing. And it looks like one of these. I'm not sure what size yet. We'll figure that out in a minute. And it looks like we're gonna kind of do the same thing that we did back here. Which is take some of these and get these in place. So we're going to take our flesh cutters. Just like we did before, we're going to trim these so that they fit. Like this. Oop. Might have trimmed that one too much. Nah, it's not bad. I can probably use the other half of that one here. Oh, it'll work. So then we're going to take these little guys. Oh, this one I don't think is trimmed enough. Take a little more off there. Okay, a couple of those didn't want to stay in. We'll push those through manually. This one is uncomfortably loose. I'm gonna make another one. Slightly closer tolerance on this one. That's a lot better. Okay, cool. Yeah, that looks right. So now I'm going to secure these in place. Just looking ahead to make sure I've got all the right peg sizes, which I think I do. So I'm going to secure these in place with a little of the runny super glue. There we go. Good stuff. Now let's see. Looks like we have another assembly like this where we have to glue these two together. So I'll just go ahead and do both of these at once so that they're all done. So for this, what we did last time was we took some of the thicker glue, just put it along these little sort of struts, like that. Cool. There's one. And there's two. I'll give those just a minute to set. Looks like the first thing that goes on is one of these pieces. How's this go? Like that. Then we've got one of these. I can't tell if it looks like it's the bigger size. So of the two, looks like it's the bigger one. Okay, then it looks like we got one of these, goes on there. And this guy goes on here. Okay, that's that piece. And let's see. Now we need this one and one of these. Looks like we need this one that's wider on that side. Okay, yes. Because so you can see how there's a wide side and a narrow side. This connects up with the narrow side. Okay. So this looks like they've got pegs, of course. Of course there would be pegs. There are never not pegs. I suppose there's no reason why you couldn't use nuts and bolts for this. If you didn't want to use pegs and glue, you could just use like some little maybe M3 nuts and bolts, nylock bolts to hold everything in place, or keps. I think nylock is the way to go. Okay. One goes there. One goes there. Cool. Looks good. And I'm going to do my now traditional tactic of securing these with glue. Okay. Great. So now from the picture, I mean, they don't show you this, but it looks like they've got this on here. It looks like there's another one of these washers in between. Like one of these. Looks like that's on there. And then one of these things, then this thing. Oh, it looks like maybe there's another one of these. There we go. Then this. Then one of these brackets. And then couple of these. There's one. That's kind of looking like the picture now. I think that's right. Just in case it's not right, I'm going to hold off on gluing these together for right now. Now it looks like we need this assembly back. So we've got this piece sits on here. That's cool. And we got this piece sits on there. Whoa, look at that. Brings it shut. Opens it up. Wow, I really like that. That is slick. Okay, then we've got this funny looking piece. that holds it all together. Wow, I really dig this. And then it looks like it's held on with some more of these little guys. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4. That is just the coolest dang thing. Just when you thought that boxes couldn't get any cooler than they already are. Okay, to hold all these pegs in place, little dot of glue. If you're using wood glue for this, it'll all be the same process. You'll just be waiting a little bit longer between steps for the glue to dry. Most wood glue, Tight Bond, Elmer's wood glue, things like that, takes about 20 minutes to set up. That is great. So this side's completed. Now we have the mirror image side. This side here. So we're going to do the exact same thing. We're just going to do the mirror image. So I'm going to cut this part out. This video is already long enough. But basically, you're doing the exact same thing, but you're doing it here. Mirror image. Here we go. Okay, we're back. And we've got both of the sides done and the front done. And at this point, that's kind of where the pictures end. But I think the rest is fairly self-explanatory, with the idea being these parts now slot together. So this should be the top. I think this must be the front. This is the back. So I'm just going to start slotting these things together and see how it goes. So this would be probably best to start like this. Put all these parts together. Gotta rotate the knob a little bit so that the gears here on the side intermesh along with the finger joints. Okay. Might have to do the same thing here. That seems good. this is really interesting. We're just very carefully pressing all four sides down onto the bottom plate, which is a slightly snug fit, but at this point that mechanism is working. Now let's see, this would be the front part. Like that. And this would be the rear. Like this. And we're going to have to glue all these bits together once we've got them all seated properly. Looks like I have an extra piece. I don't know what's with that. I got one extra piece. But I'm going to use, it looks like I got two slightly different designs. I'm going to use the one with all the gears on it up top, because that looks cool. I don't know if your kit has an extra piece. I made mine at a different time. But if yours does have an extra piece, then you get to make that decision too. Wow, okay, that is looking groovy, and that mechanism works beautifully. Okay, cool, I'm very happy about this. I'm going to start gluing it together. I'll start with the bottom. Gonna press it down, make sure it's really in there. And this is where some of this very runny super glue comes in handy. I can just get that all in the finger joints. And it soaks right up. I'm just gonna wipe off the excess. And hit it with a little of our spray. Okay, that piece is now really on there. I'm going to do the same thing up top here. excess. Ooh, got some fumes. Gonna step away for a second while the super glue fumes dissipate. Oh man, blech. They went right in my mouth. Wonder if they're reacting with this cloth. Anyway, I don't think we need spray on that one. I think there was enough spray left on the cloth. Ick, that was nasty. But really don't think I need to do anything with the sides. I suppose I could put a little dab on it. But I don't really think I need to. They're pretty nicely fit and the bottom is holding them together. Put a little dab in the top corners, how about? Just enough to kind of try and hold it together up there. Don't want to accidentally get any on the gears. This side definitely needs some. It's very loose. This looks like it could use a little bit too. This side didn't stick. Let's try that again. Get some more of that in there. And we'll hit it with our spray. Really like that. The movement's a little crunchy at the beginning, you can kind of hear it. A little crunchy there. But I have a feeling that over time that's going to loosen up. The more you use it, that's going to loosen up. It's only wood, it's going to wear pretty quickly. And also you could use a little bit of paraffin. I think they make a paraffin spray. You could put a paraffin spray in there. Can honestly even try, you might try just an oil like a mineral oil or something, but I think paraffin is generally what you're supposed to use, or beeswax. You could melt some beeswax, dribble it in there. But look at that. That is just really nifty. I'm super happy with this, how this turned out, and definitely gonna keep it on display here in the lab because it's kind of a cool semi-functional work of art. I just can't get enough of that. Okay, well, thanks for watching. And yeah, good luck with your kit. If you ever have any questions, you know, just send me an email. And we'll see you next time.